So it's been about 7 or so years since the infamous Transformers The Last Night came out, which is kind of wild that it's been that long. And it also was the beginning of the end for the original Transformers cinematic universe because when this film came out, this was during a time when I know it's hard to think this at this point, but this was when Marvel was like at its peak and every franchise wanted to be a cinematic universe. Like every studio was trying to have their own cinematic universe. You know, the Dark Universe, the Transformers universe, the fucking Jurassic Park universe. Everyone had a cinematic universe they were making. And so this film was supposed to launch the like future cinematic universe, and they were going to explore the what were they called? Quintessa? Yeah, Quintessa was her name. Quintessa and the creators of the Transformers, and it turned out in the film that the planet Earth was actually fucking Unicron, and they were going to explore that. And so that this movie was supposed to be, funny enough, this was supposed to be the setup for a cinematic universe, and it actually was the death of a franchise or a cinematic universe before it actually ever began. And looking back, I will say the thing about the Transformers films, the Bayformer ones, is that they had I still think this they had some of the best trailers. You could look at a Michael Bay Transformers film, the trailer, and you could actually be deceived into thinking it was actually going to be a good movie. Like, I mean, go back and look at Transformers: Age of Extinction, the teaser. Like the teaser for that film, it has Optimus Prime riding a fire breathing robot T Rex with a sword. I mean, shit. Like, who didn't want to see that? I mean, you look at even Darker the Moon. You look at that trailer. That makes you hype for that film. And then I remember thinking, even though I had seen all the Bayformer films, I had seen them all. I knew what they were. I mean, we all knew what they were. I somehow still thought after seeing the trailers, I was like, okay, this is gonna be the one. This is gonna be the Transformers film that is actually good. Like the trailers just made it seem like it was gonna be a good film. They were bringing back all the characters. You know, they had John Turturro. He came back. They had Josh Duhamel back. They were gonna have Therese Gibson, but I think he was filming like Fast and Furious at the time, so he was supposed to come back, but he didn't come back. They had, all the other characters. It was almost like an Avengers almost like movie of all the old characters. They even had the fucking general from the first film come back. So it was like all the old gang was coming back. And Megatron was back somehow, even though Galvatron was in the last film, but somehow Megatron he just is back. Even though Megatron died at the end of Dark of the Moon and he was converted into Galvatron. Galvatron is just gone, never to be seen again, and then Megatron just is just there. So Megatron's back. So he had all the characters there. And and the selling point, the thing that sold this film was evil Optimus. We are gonna get Optimus Prime as a bad guy. The trailer, the teaser was him, saying forgive me and proceeding to stab Bumblebee with Mark Wahlberg on him. So everyone was like, "Oh my god, Optimus is a bad guy." So like I was hyped for this film. I thought this was going to be the best one. It was like not even like the best one. I thought this was going to be like a legitimately good movie. And I remember about 15 minutes into the film, I remember the mark where I thought, "Yeah, this is fucked," was when it was what's his name? Stanley Tucci. So for some reason, Stanley Tucci is playing Merlin in this film. They don't explain this because he was playing a scientist Steve Jobs types in the film before. Like literally the film before this, he was playing a generic billionaire Steve Jobs evil corporate guy. And then in this film, he's playing King Arthur and Arthurian in like ancient times. And you would think that there would be like some type of connection where like King Arthur, and or not King Arthur, Merlin. He plays Merlin. I'm sorry, he plays Merlin. So you would think like I thought like oh like is there going to be like a connection between like the billionaire dude like somehow they're related like Merlin and the dude in the current day like they're somehow related? No, it just turns out that Michael Bay wanted to cast him as a different character, and they have nothing to do with each other. Merlin doesn't have any, like, I mean, he has lineage in a way to the current characters, but, like, not to the one that he is played by the same actor. And, in, like, the beginning of the film, you have Merlin riding on his horse, and he's drunk. and he says something fucking stupid like, "Oh, I'm sloshed" or some shit like that. When I saw that, I was like, "Yep, we are." So much for this being different. And the film, not only did this film proceed to be bad, it's. I mean, you kind of expected a bad film from these films, but this was even atrocious for these films. Like I would put this up there. It's. I mean, I don't know if it's worse than Revenge of the Fallen, but it's giving it a hard run for its money because, and I mean, this thing. What makes it, I think, worse almost is that it's not even. At least with Revenge of the Fallen, it is a full movie. It is a movie. Granted, the plot is fucked, but it has one somewhat. It has characters. A it has a skeleton like of a story. It has the foundation for a story. This film is like 19 films fused into a schizophrenic clusterfuck. Like it's at the same time like an ET film, it's an Arthurian film. There's a little bit of Star Wars thrown in there. It's like it's like so many. It's so many films, and it's not one of any of them. It has a little bit of Suicide Squad. It's just a combination of tons of different films and genres that do not go together, do not make sense, and it just makes it just a giant mess. That like it doesn't even the plot is incoherent. Like because like we got the plot line of Optimus being bad. He's off in space. So because at the end of Age of Extinction, we saw him flying into space to go find the creators of the Transformers. And so he goes off into space, and then we fast forward to this film, and he just died or something. Like he just died or gave out, whatever happened. He just is drifting lifelessly through space. He didn't even make it past like fucking Jupiter. He's just drifting through space. So I don't know what Optimus's plan was, like, because it was implied he was gonna go fly into space, go back to his planet, or go wherever the creators were, and he was gonna like approach them, like he was gonna confront them and like battle them pretty much. But no, he ends up just dying or going into a coma. Not even past our solar system. He doesn't even get past like Mars or some shit. So he just dies. And then he ends up crashing by chance on Cybertron or the remnants of Cybertron. And so you got the one plot of him and Quintessa. She's one of the main bad guys. And you got the plot, you got the subplot of Optimus. Then you got the plot of Mark Wahlberg's character Cade becoming the Last Knight. Then you got the other story. You got the other plot line of Isabella, played by Isabella Moner, of like this little girl and her robot transformer friend living in this like refuge or just like bombed out wasteland of a city. You got that going. Then you got fucking Anthony Hopkins and his like C-3PO manic robot butler. You got them there. Then you got Megatron, who's just there for like he's just there doing his thing. Like you have so many fucking plot lines going on, and none of them connect. None of them are in any way connected to each other, and it doesn't. It makes no fucking sense. Like the fact like Megatron is back, and they don't even explain why he's back. Because like we saw him the last time we saw Megatron, he had his head ripped off and killed by Optimus at the end of Dark of the Moon. So he is dead. He was dead at the end of that film. And in an Age of Extinction, we see his head. They essentially were transferring elements of him into making Galvatron. So it's not even like they made his body in the Galvatron. They had they used his body as like a reference to make the Galvatron, who was a whole because he was that type of transformer that didn't transform. He turned into like fucking blobs and dots and shit, and so that's what he was based off of. So as of Age of Extinction, which is the film just before this, they are he's just gone. Like Galvatron's gone, never seen again. Even though, funny enough, at the end of that film, he says, "We will meet again." No, they fucking don't. He's never even seen again, never mentioned again. No idea what happened to him. He's just gone. And and that's another thing about this film is that just characters are just either magically gone with no explanation, or they just magically show up with no explanation. Like Barricade. Like Barricade, I mean, he was in Dark of the Moon, but like it was implied he died because he was not even mentioned or seen or heard of in Age of Extinction, and he just shows up here. Never, we haven't heard from him for like a film. He just is there, like fucking Wheelie. Wheelie was just missing in Age of Extinction. Like Brain showed up, the two small robots, the fucking pretty much like the Joe Pesci robot, and then the one voiced by Tom Kenny. Brain showed up in Age of Extinction, but Wheelie was just never mentioned. No, didn't know what happened to him. Didn't know if he died or what. And he just randomly shows up here. And then Megatron, he just shows up. He was dead in the third film, and he's just there. No explanation of why or how or when he came back. He just is there. And, you know, and like even like the fucking general, like the general, we haven't seen him since like Revenge of the Fallen. Where the fuck's he been? Don't know. He just shows up. Even Josh Hamel's character, he was gone nowhere in Age of Extinction. You would have thought, since he had a relationship with the Transformers, he would have been concerned that the Autobots were being hunted down by the government. It would have been cool and interesting to actually have the perspective of him, since he is a loyal soldier, but he also is friends with the Autobots. Like, it would have been interesting to have that conflict of him having to deal with being a loyal soldier but then also being a friend of the Transformers and seeing them be hunted down and killed. You know, people, robots he fought, side by side by for years. He just shows up again. John Turturro, he just randomly shows up. Don't know where he was at in Age of Extinction. Like, characters just fucking spawn out of nowhere. And then on top of that, like, you get characters that just show up who we've never seen before, but then other characters are gone without any explanation, like the Dinobots. Like at the end of Age of Extinction, we saw the Dinobots were freed, like Optimus freed them. And so you had Grimlock, and then you had Snarl, Slack, you had the whole group of them. You had the T Rex, you had the Stegosaurus, the two headed pterodactyl, and I think it was like four of them and they're gone. Like all the Dinobots except for Grimlock are just gone. Like we all know. No, I take that back. The fucking Stegosaurus, or no Stegosaurus, the Triceratops and Grimlock show up for like 5 minutes. Don't know what happened to the pterodactyl. He's just got the two-headed pterodactyl is just gone. We don't know what happened to that thing. I don't know if it died or what. And then the Triceratops shows up for like literally a minute. It comes out of the ground, out of nowhere. Don't know where that thing was fucking. Because, the group are living in a junkyard, and so we see Grimlock there. We never see. I don't know where that fucking Triceratops came from. He just literally just emerges out of the ground to take out some random vehicles, and he's never seen again. We never see him again. He's never mentioned again. The Dinobots never mentioned again, and then on top of that, so they're missing half of the original Dinobots, and then there's just these random new baby Dinobots. Where the fuck did they come from? Like, there's just all these random mini baby Dinobots walking around. It's like, where did they come from? Like, are they did they come from Grimlock? Like, do they asexually reproduce or something? Like, where did they come from? Don't know. They're just there, and then they just disappear. Like they're in the film for like maybe 5 minutes, and then they're just gone. They are never seen again, never mentioned again. They're there for like a blink and you miss it almost. They're only really there for product placement. Like uh, fucking Cade has one of them, like the pterodactyl, literally fly him a Bud Light or some beer. And it's like clearly like where you can see the fucking name of the beer and everything, so you can make sure it's in frame. He just flies it to him so he can drink it, and then they're never seen again. And so, like, the characters in the film are just all over the place. There really isn't a cast of characters. I mean, there's like, despite there being characters randomly gone and then showing up again, I will say I was surprised that there were characters from Age of Extinction that did show up again. We have Hound, voiced by John Goodman. We got Crosshairs, voiced by DiMaggio, the same voice actor for Bender. And then we have Drift, who's voiced by Ken Watanabe. They come back, but they're not even main characters anymore. Like they were the main, like in Age of Extinction, they were essentially the new Autobot team. It was those three plus Optimus plus Bumblebee. They were like the new team. Like they kind of, I mean, they didn't have a good characterization, but they had some characterization. And in this film, Drift, I think, has like maybe a handful of words. Crosshair is just there. Hound is just there. It's implied that you're led to believe that Hound dies because he stays back at one point to to fight Megatron. And the last we see of him is being what we think is blown up by Megatron, but he just shows up again fine. And then on top of that, like none of them really have much to do. And then on top of that, when so the film is like divided into parts, and so after the beginning of the film until the end, Drift, Hound, and Crosshairs, they're just gone. Like we don't see them at all, really. And Isabella or Izzy, she's the kid character that is like supposed to be one of the main characters. She's not really a main character. She's in the film for like a solid 10 minutes at the beginning of the film. And then she's just gone until the very end of the film and then shows up at the very end. And so it's like you got all these characters that don't really add anything to the story. They're just there. And then the characters we do have, we have Bumblebee, who's not a character. And then we're back to the him not being able to fucking speak again, which they fixed this at the end of the first film. I might be wrong about this, but I believe it was either the first or second film. They fixed his fucking voice box, and for some reason, every other film has had this thing of him not knowing how, like he can't speak, he can speak. Every other film goes back and forth. Right? Like they forget that he actually had his voice box fixed. But I mean, Bumblebee, he's not really a character. He's just a fucking set piece. Like he's just a fucking movable set piece. He doesn't have a character. He's just there to be there. Then you got fucking Anthony Hopkins, who's just having fun collecting a paycheck. You got Cade Yeager, who has no characterization. You got this new love interest. She's like a historian, but then she doesn't believe in history at the same time. And she's just there to pretty much be eye candy. She wears these insanely sexy outfits. I mean, she dresses like how a professor would in a Pornhub video, pretty much. And she wears some glasses, so she looks a lot more smarter too. So she doesn't got much going for her. And outside of that, you really don't. And then you got Hot Rod. You got Hot Rod, who in the movies and the comics is a pretty important character. I mean, he's Bumblebee's brother. He has all his main characterization is that he has a French accent that he hates. Why a fucking robot from another planet is stuck with a human accent is beyond me. I don't know how that works, but that is Hot Rod's only characterization is he has an accent, he has a French accent that he hates. And that's it. That's all he has. And then as far as the villains, we got the most random assortment of villains because so as I said earlier, Megatron just shows up, right? We don't know what how. He's just there. But somehow he has because this is never shown on screen. So they never meet at all that we see. It's implied, but it's only the fans making this because the film doesn't do this. It is implied that Quintessa somehow revived Megatron, and that's how he's back. But the problem is the film doesn't even imply that they have any pre-established relationship. Like they start working together for no like randomly. Like throughout the whole film, Quintessa and Megatron are on their entirely different routes. Like what Megatron's looking for, he's looking for this fucking medallion. Uh, so that's his thing. And then fucking Quintessa, she's trying to kill Unicron, and that's her thing. So like they got two very different plot lines and two different goals going on, and neither of them really overlap. But then somehow they end up working with each other, and then I don't know how that works because and then like they end up being a team at the end. It's like, when did this happen? I don't, like, did I miss something? And then the best part is we got some new Decepticons because outside of the, I mean, every one of these films, either all of the Autobots and Decepticons except for Optimus, Bumblebee, and Megatron get killed off or are just never seen again. And so by the last night, pretty much every Decepticon they've had is dead. I mean, Starscream dead, Shockwave dead, Jetfire, who was a bad guy, became a good guy, Devastator, all the Decepticons are dead. So now they have a new set of Decepticons, and the way they're introduced is one of the most fucking insane ways possible. So there is a negotiation, I shit you not, in the middle of the desert between a group of military people and Josh Duhamel's character and Megatron. I never would have thought I would have seen Megatron having a fucking negotiation with humans to have his Decepticon criminal friends released from human custody. This is like a fucking South Park sketch. You have Megatron, a fucking 30-foot or 40-foot giant evil robot hell bent on destroying humans and looks at humans as this fucking pest and insects, negotiating like he's a fucking hostage negotiator. And the way that they're introduced, so this film came out at the same time, the not the James Gunn Suicide Squad, but the original with Will Smith and Margot Robbie. So they have a Suicide Squad style introduction for all these new Decepticons. We've never seen them before, but there's this Suicide Squad style introduction for them. And so Megatron is having to negotiate to get them back. And so he gets all of them back except for one called Berserker. And you would think that Berserker would be like the really cool, unhinged one. Who knows? We never see him again. Like, we see him for about 5 seconds with a freeze frame of his name, and he's just never seen again. So who the fuck knows? But here's another. This also just goes to how the plot of this film is fucked because in Age of Extinction, the film right before this, there is one of the main plot lines is that there is a planetary hunt for all Autobots and Decepticons. Every Transformer is treated as a threat. So how the fuck how are these rogue criminal Decepticons, the known de facto bad guys of the Transformers? How is it that humans are gunning down innocent Autobots who have helped humans protect the planet and save them? How is it that they're gunning them down without a second thought or a chance, and just killing them without any remorse? But they're locking up these Decepticons, who not only are Decepticons, the known bad guys who have tried to enslave humanity and destroy the planet, but have also committed fucking crime. There's a Decepticon that robs a bank. Why the fuck does a Decepticon need to rob a bank? What do they need money for? What the fuck are they robbing a bank for? So somehow, at the same time that humans deem all Transformers are a threat to mankind, and they're gunning down every Autobot they see, they're just locking up Decepticons like they're jaywalking. It's like, okay, I guess that's the thing. And also, why are you negotiating with Megatron? This is the robot that has tried to kill you all multiple times, has a very known hatred and disdain for humans, is known not to be trusted. In Dark of the Moon, they trusted the Decepticons, and they completely backstabbed them and nearly enslaved the planet, humanity, and destroyed the planet. But they're somehow making a treaty, like a treaty with the Decepticons and Megatron. But here's the best part. So we have these new Decepticons, and they have this, cool introduction for all of them. And you think that they're gonna, have some fights and they're gonna have some character development. We're gonna get to know them. Nope, we don't. Every fucking Decepticon introduced gets killed off in about minus 15 seconds. Every new Decepticon gets killed horribly, quickly, without any second thought. We see these characters for maybe 3 minutes, if that. It might be too. These Decepticons have about 2 minutes of screen time combined before they are all killed, and that's it. Never seen again, never mentioned again, and that's it. So most of the new villains are all dead. And then you got Quintessa, who's the other villain. And she's like, I guess, the creator or one of the creators of the Transformers. And I mean, she hasn't got much going for her. Like, she's just this floating ghost thing. Like, and also, like, I don't get how the Transformers came from this fucking thing. Like, cause she's like the size of a human, and she's just like a floating blue ghost with like tendrils and these like weird neon looking eyes. Somehow she made the Transformers, or it's like I think I think she's the one that made them, or she's one of the creators that created the Transformers. It's kind of wild that they came from her, but nonetheless. And yeah, her whole thing is she wants to kill Unicron, and that's it. We really don't get much into what the history is. She just wants to kill Unicron, and then she like mind wash or brainwashes Optimus into becoming bad. And so Optimus is one of the bad guys, and so that's what most people are here for. Is like, oh my god, Optimus Prime is a bad guy now. He's a bad guy for about, I'd say, 3 minutes, maybe two. He's a bad guy. You know what's funny is Optimus Prime is actually a better bad guy as a good guy than he is as a bad guy, because Optimus as a good guy, he is a fucking bloodthirsty fucking psychopath. I mean, you watch how he kills Decepticons, it's like a fucking Mortal Kombat finisher. Like he's ripping the spot. Imagine, okay, I want you to go back and look at all of the kills Optimus has and how he kills Decepticons. Now imagine Optimus and those Decepticons as people. And imagine what that would look like. It would look fucking awful. So when Optimus is a good guy, he is an unhinged, bloodlusted warrior who will kill anything in his path. Like in Revenge of the Fallen, when he kills the Fallen, like after he's like damn near killed him, he rips his face out and says, "Give me your face." Like, bro, what the fuck? That's not something a good guy says. Like, could you imagine Captain America after beating Red Skull fucking rips his head off and was like, "Give me your fucking head"? No, like that's some villain shit right there, or at least some anti-hero shit. So like it's kind of funny how Optimus is hyped up as being like, oh, he's bad now. He's unhinged. Just like no, he's actually more tame as a bad guy, because like when he shows up again, he shows up in a temple that Cade and the library chick are in, and he wants the staff that can be used to kill Unicron. Now, instead of just killing these two humans and taking it, he asks Cade to give the staff to him. Now, keep in mind, Optimus is supposed to be this ruthless, emotionless bad guy who will fight anyone who stands in his way. And he comes across some humans, and he's like, "Hey, give me your staff." Like he just comes off as just angry, not like a villain. Like what he should have done is just stepped on him, took the staff, and left. Instead, he's over here like arguing, like, "Give me the staff, give it to me, human." It's like, dude, you're a bad guy. Fucking blaster with a blaster. Like you have been known to be an unhinged fucking maniac when it comes to killing. Just fucking step on her, take the staff, and leave. And if any human tries to stop you, just fucking eviscerate him. But no, he's actually more of a good guy when he's even fighting. Like when he's fighting Bumblebee. Like if Bumblebee was fighting good guy Optimus, he would have been ripped to shreds 16 times within 50 seconds. The bad guy Optimus is actually less effective at beating Autobots and Decepticons than the good guy Optimus. So it's kind of funny how Optimus is actually a better villain as a good guy than he is as a bad guy. But the best part is, so he's a villain, right? And the main selling point of the film is that Optimus and Bumblebee, they're gonna have a fight. Like, oh my god, Bumblebee and Optimus, they're gonna fight. The two close friends. and their fight. So this film came out about the same time that Batman v Superman came out, and I remember someone made the thought of, what if this fight ends similar to how the infamous Batman Superman fight ended with the fucking Martha line. And I remember at the time I thought, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Like, no, they're not going to do that. And funny enough, they did do that. They had a Batman v Superman Martha moment with Optimus, where right before he's going to kill Bumblebee, somehow magically, after every other film not being able to talk, working on his vocal cords, suddenly he's magically able to talk completely clear and tell Optimus, I'm your friend and I laid down my life for you. And that is enough to get him to become a good guy again. That's all it takes. All it takes for Optimus to become a good guy again is to hear Bumblebee talk. And then they even fuck up the continuity of that, because when Optimus becomes a good guy again, he says, I haven't heard your voice since Cybertron fell. And it's like, no, you literally heard his voice at the end of the first film. Like, it's not been hundreds of years or decades. You literally heard his voice at the beginning of the franchise. And that, like, in universe, it's only been a few years since the first film. So it's not like it's been decades and decades. So the whole selling point, or one of the main selling points of the film, was wasted after 5 minutes. I mean, this had the same disappointment as John Cena's heel turn. It had a lot of potential, and a lot of people were interested, and it just ended up being a just overwhelming disappointment. And so Optimus as a bad guy failed. So the bad guys have nothing going for them. There are no real built up, established good guys. So you're left with a fucking mixed mash plot that doesn't make any sense. You have quote unquote characters who have no characterization. You have characters who are supposed to be very important who don't feel important at all. Like, they're trying to hype up Cade in this film as like so it turns out that Optimus is not the last knight, Bumblebee's not the last knight, and even a Decepticon isn't the last knight. It turns out that fucking Cade Yeager, a dude who has been in only 2 films, is the last knight. And it just does not feel like an earned, it doesn't feel like an earned accomplishment. Because, like, we just met this guy the film before, and now he's like the chosen one with the fate of the world in his hands. It's like, I don't buy it. Like, I don't buy it. And so, Cade, he's like the only type of like character we have, because like Izzy, she's only in the film for a handful of minutes and she doesn't do much. And so, like, you're sat there with this bloated, incoherent, like, feels like a 5-hour fucking film with just explosions and noise and stuff happening. You don't know what's happening. You don't really care. I mean, really, I feel like most people, unless you're just an avid die in the womb Michael Bay Transformers fan, at some point watching this film, your mind just naturally shuts the fuck off, because you don't care to process what's happening. The film doesn't care to actually give you a reason to process it. So you just go on autopilot. Like, matter of fact, my friend who was excited, he was as excited as I was to watch the film. He went straight to fuck to sleep early, and he went to sleep like early in the film because he went to sleep before fucking Cogsman or Cogsworth, whatever the fuck, the C-3PO ripoff. He went to sleep before he showed up, so he fucking checked out early. I checked out within the first 5 minutes. Pretty much everyone else checked out, early in the film too. And so, it looking at the film and looking back on it now, like, I mean, it's not a surprise that this film bombed, because I think also, like, this film, I feel like this film especially was just the culmination of the inedible. Because people for years had been criticizing the Michael Bay films. They talked about how bad they were, the sexism and the racism and all the other issues. And one of the things that the people who defend these films would say is like, oh, well, they make a lot of money. Like, they make an insane amount of money, so it doesn't matter what your critique is. And so for a while that worked. Like, it didn't matter what people said about them. What they said about the film. Like, if they said it was bad, well, who cares? Did they make $1 billion? If a film, I mean, it doesn't matter if people like a film or not. If it makes $1 billion, that's $1 billion, good or bad. But it got to the point where they were making money until they weren't making money. And then on top of not making money, they made so less money and such a bad reception to the film that it killed pretty much the future of the cinematic franchise, and they had to go back and completely rework the entirety of what they're going to do with the Transformers franchise. And ever since The Last Night came out, they have really not had a real grounded level of like where they're going. Like they don't have like a plan of starting from the beginning, like the groundwork to actually make a new franchise. Because like I thought, like other people, they're like, okay, they're not going to keep doing the Michael Bay films, but they're going to like start from scratch and then build from there. And they kind of did, but they didn't at the same time. Like, you had the Bumblebee film that is not connected to the. Well, it kind of is connected to Rise of the Beast, but most people don't really see those two as being connected at all. And I mean, all the Transformers films since The Last Night have just been either lukewarm received, okay-ish, or just bad. So, yeah, even after this film came out, the Transformers franchise, it has just not really recovered. And Michael Bay is supposed to be coming back to direct another Transformers film. And at this point, I mean, maybe that would help it for a little bit, but I don't think Michael Bay coming back is gonna really save the Transformers franchise. In fact, I think it will not kill it, but it will definitely do severe harm if he comes back. Because I think once we get another Michael Bay Transformers film, every single person is going to automatically remember why they hated these films and stop watching them. And you're going to be back to the same situation as you were at The Last Night. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Like I think that this film, I don't know. I can't even say it had potential. It did have potential to be at least decent, but even that fucked up. And one of the biggest fuck ups in the film is the whole making Unicron Earth. Like I know that in the comics and in the original animated movie, he was a planet, but the difference is he was a planet. Like he transformed from a planet into his robot form, which made more sense. He wasn't literally the Earth, because obviously you're not gonna if he's supposed to transform or like break out of the earth, he's going to destroy the earth, which they obviously don't want to happen in these films. So I don't even know what they were gonna do with him. Like I'm actually kind of curious, like what were they gonna do with like Unicron? Because we find out at the end of the film that Quintessa survived, and now she's like in human form, and she's like in the desert, doing whatever. And so I'm wondering, I'm really curious, like, what would Unicron have looked like? Like, what would they, like, how would that conflict have like turned out? Like, would it have been like a phase, like Marvel does? But we'll never know. It's just, it's interesting to think about. But not much else to say really. Just my thoughts looking back on The Last Night. And with that said, I think I'm gonna call it a day here. And until next time, I will see you good people later.